All right, I think we are live. All right, so just want to make sure that the video kind of works first. So there'll be a few minutes of silence, right? So check it out and share with a few stuff. Yeah, right. But it looks like we are live. That's good. All right. So guys, if you can hear me, yeah, just let me type yes in the chats. All right, and we like this video. Hopefully, more people can dumb around, and then we will get started in a bit. Yeah. All right. Chandler from Bangladesh. Hi, Sazil. Sakil. All right, nice to meet you here. All right, great you're around. Okay. All right, we should really get started in just about a minute or two time, and then we will get started. All right, guys, if you can hear me, just let me type yes in the chat, right? And let's get moving. All right, so right now is 28th of December, right? This is a time that I think a lot of people are preparing to wind down, maybe slacken off, rest a little bit. Hey, that's fine. That's fine, right? But I think like earlier today, I had like three runs, right, of some of clarity accountability calls, and people who are still ready to crush it, even though it's the final week of 2020, right? People are still putting a last push, the last sprint, right? Even for myself, my goals are just a little bit more before I complete all my goals for 2020, right? So just pushing a little bit more before we end it off, resting a little bit, and then we have crushing and one of the 2021. Right. So guys, if you are ready for me to share, just me type yes in the chat, right? Even if you're watching a recording, right, you're going to participate as much as possible. So type yes in the chat if you are ready, right? And I'll get started very soon. Right. So it's great that a lot of people, I see a few people that's online already, right? So it's great. So let's get started very soon. Okay. Right. So all right, what am I going to talk about today? Right, and why do I say for some people, right, it could actually be one of the most important mastery Mondays, right, that I might have ever given to people, right? Really, like a lot of people. One thing I realized in 2020, especially, right, especially when the market crashed, right, there's a lot more opportunities in the market in business, right. That a lot of people are ready to jump onto the bandwagon, right, which is great and stuff. But I think the challenge is right now, a lot of people are just focusing on the money, right? A lot of people are just focusing on creating the investment ROI, the business, right? And it's nothing wrong with that, right? But I realize, right, usually people just think that when I make enough money, right, when I make enough money, when I know enough tactics, when I know enough strategies, right, when I go for enough workshops and programs to up my skills, right, I will magically be able to be successful, right? I'll magically be able to live a fulfilled life, a life of abundance where I get what I want. But more and more and more, I realize, right, especially when I start speaking to a lot more what I call successful people, a lot more high level people, and I really try to get deep down, right? As much as I talk about implementation, right, which is absolutely important. But one thing that I really realize is that a lot of them will focus not on the level of tactics, the strategies, right, but really on the more of what I call the identity or the becoming or the mindset, right, which is a bit more conventional, right, in terms of mindset, right, required, which sounds very cliche, right? But my take is, right, a lot of them would rather focus on both mindset and strategy together when they first started out, instead of just working on the tactics, the tips, the strategies, and then what I call like crashing into walls, making a lot of mistakes. Because why? They did not focus on the mindset. So we're going to talk a little bit about it, right? Not just about making money or profits, right? Even though, yes, psychology is very important in terms of investment in business, right? But also in terms of overall fulfillment of life. So that's what I'm going to share a little bit about today, right? And really just remind you guys that the most successful people in the world today, they have tactics, they have strategies, right? But it's really on what I call their becoming goals. What's their identity like? What's their mindset like? And that, right, my friends, right, even if you might know the same exact strategy, the same exact tips as them, right, you might never be able to get the results that you want. Which is why even after you read a book, even after you attend a program where the trainer is crazy, reviews everything he knows, right, even in 2, 3, 5 years time, right, the majority of people will never be able to be as successful as what they aspire to be. Because why? They never focus on this. So that's what I'm going to share a little bit about today. All right. So what James Clear says, right? So what James Clear says, I think a lot of you might know about it. James Clear, and he's the guy that wrote this book called Atomic Habits. So even the guy who wrote Atomic Habits, right? Think about it, right? Even the guy who wrote about the book called Atomic Habits, right? He also, right, focuses on this thing of self-identity, right? So instead, right, so a very quick example is, for example, am I smoking, right? For example, if I'm smoking, right, and I'm trying to quit, right? And when somebody offers me a cigarette, right? Hi, Henry, what's up? Hi, Sylvia, all right, from Indonesia, great to meet you. Hi, Sakil, right? So what happens when somebody offers me a cigarette, right? Instead of saying, oh, I cannot smoke anymore, oh, I don't want to eat ice cream, oh, I don't want to smoke, right? Instead of saying that and thinking that, right, you're going to tell yourself, say, no, I'm not a smoker anymore. I'm not a smoker, right? Hi, right? No, I'm someone who doesn't smoke. So when you focus more on the identity, right? The frame, the probability of you saying no is going to be way high, because why? It's who you are as a person. It's no more about the things you do, it's about who you are as a person. So obviously, if you want to acknowledge, say first, yes, I used to be a smoker, but right now I'm absolutely not, because I've changed my self-identity. Right, so that's one thing I do is in terms of I need. So for example, if you are you want to be someone who goes gym 3 times a week, right? Instead of saying, oh, I have to go 3 times a week, oh, I'm trying to go 3 times a week, right? You say, I'm somebody who prioritizes my health by going to gym 3 times a week. I'm somebody who is healthy. I'm somebody who's focused on my health. I'm somebody focused on self-care, right? I'm someone who is healthy, right? And we put that as your self-identity, right? The likelihood, the probability of you achieving the success is so much higher, because why? It's your life, it's you as a person already. Right, so when you call yourself a yogi, right, when you call yourself a yogi, when you call yourself an athlete, right, the habits and routines and the mindset you have, right, is completely different from somebody who is just doing it for the fun of it, who is just doing it because somebody told him in a book that's healthy to do so, right? I'm an effective person, right? Instead of I'm trying to be effective, I'm trying to be productive. I am productive. I am a productive person. So when you start changing identity, right, the conversations in your head, the probability of you achieving is so much higher, because why? Right, it becomes a lifestyle already. Hi, Daniel, what's up? Nice to meet you. All right, nice, great that you're here. Right, so I'm just talking a little bit about identity and what you tell yourself, who you are as a person, right, has a much greater impact, right, on society than anything else. Right. Hi, Deborah. What's up? Great to meet you. Right. Hope you guys have a good Christmas celebration. Right. It's great to meet you there, Deborah. Right. So recently, right, where I met my business mentor, right, Melvin. I think some of you know him from X Factor, right? I was going there prepared, right, with a whole list of my business goals, right, my strategy, my tactics, right. Oh, this is the number of people, this is the amount of revenue I want, this number of coaches I want to hire this number of people, I want to focus on this, on this number of clients, right? Basically, right, for the consulting session, for the coaching session, right, we talked nothing about this specific business goals, right, by focusing on something way more important than that, right? After the conversation, I realized, which was our becoming goals, right? So that's something that we also talk about, the word called becoming as well, right? In terms of who do we want to become, right, in 2021, right? What is the kind? Hi, Delton, right? Merry Christmas, right? Good to meet you here. Good to see you here, right? Thanks for coming in, right? So we focus on the becoming goals, right? So instead of focusing, right, I want to achieve this kind of revenue, right? I want to achieve this, right? When I focus on the becoming goals, right, the success becomes way more long term, right? Because once I focus on the becoming, right, the strategies, the tactics will follow. That's one. And number two, right, is something that can replicate over and over again. And thirdly, right, let's say, for example, right, in business, right, I'm trying to be a more effective communicator, right? So I'm trying to be a much better communicator, right? Not only do I become better communicator in terms of my business, I become a much better communicator in my relationships as well. All right. So the thing is, right, if we are talking about a becoming portion, right, you're not just benefiting in that one area of your life, you're benefiting in multiple areas as well. And that's something that's extremely powerful. So for me, right, the few self goals I have, right, in terms of my becoming goals for 2021, to be more effective communicator, right, to speak a bit more slowly, right, to be able to engage much more, right, to be able to write my posts where I can reach out to a higher group of people, right, to be a more committed person even when no one is looking. So as much as I talk about, yes, I'm a master planner and stuff, are there days that I still fall off the bandwagon? Absolutely yes, right? There are some days that my exercise are just nuts, right? That I don't exercise, right? There are some days that my diet isn't as good as it should be. So the thing is that I'm still working on myself to be a much more committed person, especially when no one is looking. Right, so that's something I talk more about accountability in my 2-day workshop as well. I think some of you know, right, there are 3 levels of accountability, right? The lowest level of accountability, right, is really about having a deadline, right, creating a bet with a friend, right, knowing your boss is there to kill you if you don't finish your work. That's a low level, right, because you just put yourself against the wall. Is it effective? Absolutely. But if you want to go one level higher, if you want to be not just the majority of people, but you want to be the minority, the top 1%, right, you need to focus on what I call the second and third levels of accountability as well, right? Level 2, right, is to remind yourself who are the people that will benefit right? Who are the people you're in service of, right? When you're actually doing something, right? Remind yourself, whose life are you contributing to, right? When you should get a certain task done, whether it's your family, your friends, when you do a job well done, right? Whether it's a community that you share your life with, your mentees, your mentors, your coaches, right? And who are the people that you benefit, right? And the final level of accountability, right, is, right, are you accountable to yourself? Right? Are you somebody who keeps your agreements to yourself? Are you somebody who's living in integrity with yourself, that whatever you say to yourself that you will do, not just to anybody else? Right? Hi, Merry Christmas, Henry. Right, Merry Christmas, Sylvia. Right, my brother, my behavior, wonderful. Right. So the thing you got to focus on, right, is, are you somebody who keeps your agreements to yourself? Are you somebody who keeps your promises to yourself? Because how can you expect, right, to contribute to other people, to inspire, right, to get other people to keep their promises to you if you are not someone who keeps your promises to yourself, right? So I always remind myself that one of my big focus of 2021 is, yes, I want to be a much more committed person. I'll keep my agreements to myself as well. All right. Number 3, right, is this something I'm working on for a long period of time, which is someone to be more assertive, knowing when to say no, even if it hurts people's feelings, right? So sometimes in my life, I'm someone who tries to please everybody, right? I'm a people pleaser, right? I don't like confrontation. I don't like to say no. I always like to give alternatives. I always try to negotiate, compromise. But because of that, I'm still creating a lot of unneeded circumstances for myself, unneeded stress, unneeded pressure on myself, because I can't say no. So that's something, yes, I read in the books, I read in the programs, the workshops, I talk to people about it. But as a person itself, right, I need to tell myself I'm a person who says no when I need to. Right, and not because I'm selfish, because I know that there are bigger things for me to work on out there. Right, so the one big thing is this: I need to be much more assertive and to start saying no more often. Okay, next one, right, to be more proactive, right, in relationships, right, particularly, right, in terms of friends, right, your relationships, your partner, your family, your loved ones. A lot of people are what I call on the passive. They're on the defensive. They're waiting for things to happen, right? Instead of trying to initiate an outing, right? They are waiting for somebody to plan an outing. Instead of trying to create a much more fun, different, refreshing experience, they're just usually just going on with the motion, just having the usual date night. So one thing I want to focus on is, instead of waiting for other people to initiate these fun outings, these refreshing ones, these open and vulnerable conversations, deeper conversations, right? I want to be the one to initiate it. I want to be way more proactive, right, with my relationships, my friends, my community, right, my loved ones, my partners. And this is something I'm working on, to be much more proactive, right, and not just waiting for things to happen to me. All right, so guys, if you like whatever I'm sharing so far, can just let me type yes in the chat, right? Just let me type yes in the chat. Help me like this video. Hopefully more people can watch, because I really feel that whatever I share here, right, if you can impact 1, 2, 3 more lives, right, especially for 2021, right, it will be more than worth it. So if there's something that resonates with you, do help me do a favor, just like this video, right? Hopefully more people like it as well. Okay. Right. So the next part, right, before I drink my water, right. By the way, right, when you bring a 4-liter water bottle to public, right, people are going to start thinking that you are some fit ass person, right? So people are like, oh, you go to the gym and stuff. But anyway, side point. All right. So next part, right? So one thing that I ask myself, right? One thing I ask myself each day, right? Have I lived to my fullest based on my becoming goals? Right, so I don't know if some of you might have me on WhatsApp, right? On WhatsApp, what I do is I tell myself I'm a powerful, loving, authentic man, right? So that's my focus in 2019, right? That I'm someone who is powerful, right? Someone that own up to my power, because I used to shy away from the fact that I've been creating a lot of value. I didn't acknowledge myself, right? But one thing about my focus in 2019 was I told myself I'm a powerful person and needed to acknowledge myself for it, right? I'm a loving person, right? Not just to the people around me, but to myself as well. Right, I'm a loving person to myself as well. And lastly, to be authentic, right? So to be able to open up, to be able to create those deep, meaningful, authentic, vulnerable conversations, instead of just trying to keep it all to myself, right? So what I did, I put it in my WhatsApp status. So something that I read it every single day, right? So whatever becoming goals that you're trying to think for yourself, I'll talk more about it later in terms of implementable, right? Ask yourself, right, how can you see it every single day, right? So you constantly remind yourself, and to ask yourself, am I constantly moving towards my becoming goals? Am I moving further away from it, right? So I'll talk more about implementable steps in just a little bit, right? But when people ask me, right, there are few ways to develop your becoming goals, right? And it's so freaking powerful, right? It's once you start working on becoming, right, and you start moving towards there, right, the likelihood, the focus of you being successful for the long term, right, is so much higher. All right. So one thing I do, right, number one, right, what you can do is you can always do it yourself, right? I think a lot of you might, if you're in the self-education space, you might know it. Yes, right? Can you do it yourself? Absolutely you can. And how do you do it, right? You can do it what I call the slowly but surely way, right? Stretching and pushing yourselves every day, reviewing yourselves every day, right? Pushing yourself, having a personal journey with yourself every day, right? That right now there's this huge big challenge called 75 Hard, right? By this guy called, I think, Andy something, right? So something I'm working on towards, right? Because I always, every year, right, I have this mission. I always want to show people that New Year resolutions work, right? Because a lot of people have this limiting belief right now that New Year resolutions doesn't work. So I'm doing this thing called the 75-day challenge, right? From day one, right? I'll share more about it in my post, my Facebook group in the next couple of days, right? But one way you can do it, yeah, you can do it by yourself, right? To track it yourself, to push it yourself, to give your own feedback, to do your own review, right? And that's how you actually prove. Because when you give yourself a challenging task, when you actually put yourself in a state of always asking yourself, am I constantly putting my becoming goals for myself, right? The likelihood of you becoming and growing is going to be so much higher. Number two, right? You can read books, right? So obviously you can read books, right? Mindset books, right? Personal development books, self-help books, right? Growth books to help you focus on becoming, right? And there's a huge ones, Think and Grow Rich, How to Win Friends and Influence People, right? The Secret, whatever it is, right? I don't really read The Secret, but anyway, right? Tony Robbins, the books, right? And stuff, you can hone it down because you're reading it, you're actually trying to absorb it for yourself as well, right? Delton said, I can't focus my goals, always be distracted. Yeah, so put your focus on yourself, Delton, for example, and say 2021 will be the year that you're going to be a freaking ass committed person, right? Instead of saying, I can't focus, I've always been distracted, say, I'm a focused, committed, right, and person, right? I'm a focused and committed individual who keeps to my goals, right? And remind yourself every single day, whether it's affirmations, reminding yourself in the mirror, right? And then you can, over time, right, your brain, your nervous systems starts internalizing it, and you can start becoming way more committed. Okay, right. So the next way, right, is through books, right? I talk about books. The next way, of course, is coaching, having an accountability buddy, right? Having coaching, right? Having a bet. So these are the things you can do it for yourself as well, right? And then the final one, right, is what I call growing your programs as well, right? Going for programs, right? Massive transformation programs, immersion, right? So this is what Tony Robbins likes to say, right? When you master anything, right? Whether it's life, business, health, relationships, right? Programs are the way to immerse yourself to make sure that you get to be successful as possible, right? So the only difference in all of them, right? Yes, sometimes you may pay more, right? It's a bit more troublesome to get some, but I think the big word is speed, right? How fast do you want to achieve your goals? If you want to be slow, right? If you want to take your time, right? If you want to waste a lot more time on making mistakes, right? Instead of learning from others, feel free to use the books, right? Going to by yourself, right? And stuff, right? But if you want speed, right? And you could afford it, right? If you can invest in it, right? If you have an education budget for yourself, right? My big wish is for you to invest in programs, not in just terms of investing or business, right? Or stuff. To invest in what I call personal development, personal growth programs, right? Like Tony Robbins UPW. Or for myself, or I think some of you know Resh as well, our most powerful program for both of us has been this program called Asia Works, right? It's a personal development program, right? And it doesn't just work on specific, like, implementable tips in a sense, but it works on your becoming as well, you as a person. And that's how people create massive transformation and changes. And it's not just theory, right? It's actual practical things because they totally change as a person. All right. So what happens is, one thing I realized is majority of people, right, especially what I realized, maybe I'm wrong, right? University graduates that do well, right? So maybe that's just my experience, right? University graduates that do well, right, they usually overanalyze a lot, right? Or they are very close to alternative forms of learning. So they always want to learn from people only if they are certified, only if they are from a university, right? Only if it's like tried and tested mode, only if majority of the people do it. But they're not open to learning from the more unconventional ways, right? And because of that, they are limiting themselves to so much potential growth in life. I feel is a huge waste. Right, so Asia Works is an example of that. Some people don't like Tony Robbins as well, right? And one thing I realized that people who are close to them, right, are usually people who have been doing pretty well, right, pretty stable, right? They might not be exactly happy or fulfilled, right, but because their life has been so smooth, right, that they are not open, right, to very alternative forms of learning. They are pretty close, right, to being uncomfortable. So my take for you, right, that if you're watching out this, if you know a friend, right, to encourage them, right, to be open to alternative forms of learning, because you never know the kind of progress they can have for themselves as like, right? So you know, people like Usher, Hugh Jackman, right? Mark Benioff, right? CEO of Salesforce, they also focus on things like Tony Robbins as well. So this thing is people actually work, right? And they work hard for it, right? And they work even though, right, people might shun it or say that it's just a waste of time or money. All right. So, right. My biggest takeaways from this program of Asia Works, right? I'm just going to share a little bit about it because I finished at 7:30, right? I think number one, I think a lot of us, maybe in Singapore, right, is we always use our head, right? What I'm talking about, we use our head is we always try to make everything logical. We always try to think about everything in the head, right? That means we're always trying to be using the brain, right? And because of that, we don't use our heart. And that's something for me, has been true for me for many years, right? I didn't understand my trainer first talked about it, but through the program, through the process, right, I was able to use a lot of my heart and gut as well, right? So there's gut as well, right? And I would say that mentally, right, I had mental breakthroughs for myself. And right now, I'm feeling a lot more free, right? Not in terms of money or business or investment tactics, but in terms of my whole overall being. Because right now, why? I'm not trying to overanalyze or trying to make everything logical, right? And when I let it go, right, the feeling was so freaking powerful. I was worth the entire investment I made just that from the one big takeaway alone. All right. Next one, right? I think one big thing I learned, it's all in the mind, right? I realized it's not physical, right? Is I had learned to stop beating myself up. Right, that instead of last time when I was making a mistake, right, when I did something wrong or my team does something wrong, I'm always someone who always beats myself up when I'm doing a mistake, when I don't commit to a goal, right, and I'll start feeling bad about myself, right, I'll start feeling, oh shit, why is this happening to me? Why am I so lousy? Why am I like that? Right, and I realize, hey, it's pretty normal, right, with a lot of people, right. And so one thing I realized, right, instead of constantly beating myself up in the head, right, I want to acknowledge myself a little bit more. I want to be a bit kinder to myself because I'm always making the best decision that whatever I can, right? Even though sometimes I might be lazy, I don't commit, right? But hey, right, ultimately I'm still living the best of my life I can be. And instead of trying to beat myself up to make myself feel worse about it, right, I'm going to tell myself it's okay to be patient, right? To acknowledge myself for recognizing in the first place and then move on. So it's a lot more of the mental thing. And especially I tell you right now, you'll be like, oh, I kind of get it. But it's only through the program, right, that I really internalized it to my becoming, right? To my being, to my identity, that I'm somebody who acknowledges myself. I'm somebody who understands my self-worth. I'm somebody who does not beat myself up whenever I do something wrong, right? And that created so much breakthroughs and changes for me, right, that you couldn't understand. Right? It's very hard to speak about it in words, right? Only when people who attend it, they kind of understand. Okay, the next thing I kind of got it for myself, right, is I started asking for support way more, right? In the past, I tried to put it on my own. I tried to be the superhero for the rest of the people in my life, right? I tried to be the one with, not in, I would say, hopefully not, right, in the arrogant way, right? I'm someone who tries to help everybody, but I never, I usually would be very uncomfortable to ask for others to help me as well. So even when I do, right, I'll always make sure to help me in any way I can, to treat a meal, right, to give money or stuff, right? Because I always felt bad. I was asking for help, right? But one thing I realized is that, right, that people, right, in the prehistoric times, not prehistoric, or maybe the olden times, the ancient times, right, it's a human biology trait, right, to be always helping each other, to always be supporting one another in their journey. Right. So one thing that I reminded myself during the program Asia Works is that it's okay to ask for support. Right. And when the more we are willing to ask each other for support and the more we are willing to help, the better the world gets, because we are always helping each other. We are always leveling each other up, right? So one thing I ask myself that it's not in just my duty to ask for help, right? Because whatever I learn, I can always share with other people. I can always level other people up. All right. So these are the few things in terms of my becoming goals, right? That over the past week, I hope some of my sharing has been useful to you, right? Like I said, it's a very casual sharing, right? In just of how my life has really changed over the past 2 years, right? Not in just terms of learning new tactics or strategies, which works, right? But in the long-term success, right? If you really want to feel fulfilled, if you want to be successful in multiple areas, you want to achieve actual breakthroughs in your life, right? You need to work on your mindset. You need to work on your identity. You need to work on your becoming goals as well. And the past 2 years, that's my big focus. And I also feel that's a big reason why I am where I am today, right? In terms of some of my early successes, some of my breakthroughs, right? It will never happen if I was just focusing on attending another investment course, attending another investment workshop, attending another business program, all right? So that's just some real talk here, right? And yeah, I talk about systems and blendable stuff as well, but I think it still starts a lot based on the mindset. Okay, right. If you liked it, right, just help me type yes in the chat, right? Let me know what you think, right? Let me like the video. Hopefully, more people to watch it, right? But with that, right, I'm going to share with you some implementable steps of what I can do, right? Maybe from now to end of the year, right? I think we still have some time, right? We can still push ourselves a little bit more, right? I still have things I'm pushing myself. I'm not resting yet, right? I'm not slacking off yet, because why? This is the time when people are slacking off, and that's when you can get an edge over other people, right? I'm not really competitive, right? But hey, all right, if I know that other people are slacking off and I still have the capacity to move forward, to work a little harder, right, while taking care of myself as well, while practicing self-care, right, I'll not be way more successful. All right. So number one, right, Firstly, right, you need to think through what are your top 3 to 5 becoming goals for 2021, right? If they can be linked to any of your health, wealth, relationship goals, even better. But typically think what are your top 3 to 5 becoming goals, right? And something you could have been struggling with, right? I've been struggling to ask for help. I've been struggling with commitment to myself. I've been struggling to keep up with my friends and family and loved ones, right? I've been always saying yes. I've been a people pleaser. I've been avoiding confrontations, right? I've been very emotional with my investments, right? So instead of being emotional, right, I'll be a much more stable, responsible, and independent investor, right? So things you ask yourself, right? What are your top 3 and 5 becoming goals? Okay. Number 2, right? Put it at a place you can ideally see every day, right? You can put it at your mirror, right? You can put it at your phone wallpaper, your desktop wallpaper, your alarm they can see every single day, right? Put it at a cell phone and see every single day. I think that's a huge one, right? Next one, have a daily and weekly review to ask yourself, have you been moving towards and ask away these goals this day? So every single day, right? Every single day, right? Whether it's at night, in the morning, right? Remind yourself of your becoming goals, right? And ask yourself, am I going to, or have I moved towards that goals, or have I moved away from that goals, right? What can I do to move towards that goals for the start of the day? And what have I done well, and what I'm going to do the next day if you're doing it at night? Okay, put it as part of your routine, right? Guys, your life will change, right? Just do it over there. All right. Yeah. Next one, be open to learning and feedback. You never know when I learn. So if people were to invite you for a personal development program, right? Self-awareness, Tony Robbins, Asia Works, whatever else there's Landmark, there's so many things out there, right? Don't be afraid to say no, right? Don't be afraid to say no. Don't be afraid to say yes as well, right? I think some don't be afraid to say no, some people are afraid. Some people are afraid to say yes because they don't know what it is, right? So if any of you are interested in finding out a bit more about Asia Works, so just let me know. Like I said, I'm not an affiliate, right? When I share with people, I just get it of the pure fulfillment and joy that I know I impacted somebody else's life, right? I think so far, I think I've got about close to 15 people to attend the program, and most of them have feedback that most, if not all, has never said that there was no regrets in attending the program, because it's one of the most powerful things in their lives, right? So there's something, if you are interested, just drop me a DM, right? I can talk more about it separately with you. All right. Next one, ask for help whenever you need it, right? Even every week, right? I have one question to ask for myself right now, right? Who can I ask support or help from? Who can I ask? What am I struggling with? And what can I ask for help from? Is it a friend, accountability buddy, right? My partner, my family, my loved ones, my mentor, my peers, my networks, my community, right? Who can I ask help from, right? Have a discharge process to acknowledge yourself, right? So I talked more about that in my previous Facebook lives, right? And then my last one is instead of just always be on the ground, always have a third-party perspective, always have a high-level perspective of yourself, right? Because when you're always in the run, you're always in a hamster wheel, right? You might not be able to see things that other people can, right? So always try to put yourself out of it and give yourself a very objective view and perspective of how your life is like, and that's how you can constantly improve yourself further. Okay, so right now it's 7:27, right? We have 3 more minutes left, but I think I kind of finished whatever I wanted to share today, right? If you guys liked it, just let me type in the chat, right? Like I said, it's a very chill chat. It's a chill thing. One quick thing though, right? If you would like to sign up for my 2-day workshop, right? I think I'm going to share maybe that in my emails if you've done my survey, right? But if you are thinking of coming down for my workshop one day, right? If you want a bit more information, right, what you can do is drop me a DM as well, or you can just register directly in the link, right, which I'll put very soon there. And because why? In 2021, the prices will increase. That means in 2021, it means the prices will already increase. So if you're interested, or if you're just exploring to find down, if you're interested, right, to find out a little bit more about the 2-day workshop, right, where if you don't like it, there's 100% money back guarantee, right? It's a ridiculously low rate, right? You don't get it anywhere else. Yeah, drop me a DM, right? I'll be more than happy to share. And for, I think my first class in January, right? In January, and yeah, you can learn from me as well. Okay. Thanks, Henry, for sharing. Yeah, the feedback, right? That's great, right? But if not, guys, I think I will sign off, right? And I will go off, and I'll see you guys very soon, right? As I move on to closing off 2020 and moving towards 2021. All right. So with that, bye everyone. Right. Love you guys. Take care. Right. And I hope to see you all very soon. Bye everyone.